Hey guys, today I want to talk about another article written by Dave Dane in The Intercept. Dave has been doing a lot of work on The Intercept, kind of following Steve Mnuchin and the ties of the banking and Wall Street to past presidencies and now to Trump. And that's what this article that he put out on March 15th on theintercept.com. I'll put the link below, entitled Donald Trump Isn't Even Pretending to Oppose Goldman Sachs Anymore. And I'll start reading the names, and it's like when I did that episode talking about that documentary, The Inside Job. This just is more, it goes back through Obama and Clinton and Bush and everyone else. Basically, what the article is focusing on is how Trump ran on a drain the swamp, get big money out of there. I mean, that was sort of, and he was saying, you know, Hillary, she's big money, she's corporate, which she is. She absolutely is. But so is Trump. And I don't, you know, he won on really kind of a populist message. That's why the Democrats keep losing, is because they refuse to be actual populists. That's why Bernie and Trump were both, they had very different messages, obviously, but they had roots and they were populist messages. They were going to, you know, average Americans and the poor and the middle class who've been getting screwed over, and saying, you know, Trump's obviously very different than what Bernie was proposing, but both of the fervency of their supporters shows you how frustrated America is. And how if we had a real populist, man, they would clean up. And Trump is like not even trying to, he's not even trying to pretend like the populist thing, that was just full on smokescreen. And he gives them, you know, travel ban and wall around Mexico, like that nationalist stuff that tied into a lot of his supporters. You know, he's still doing that. So they're like, hey, Trump's a man of his word. And they're kind of not, he can get into those fights. And the Russia thing are great distractions from what's actually going on, which is just more tax breaks and deregulation. So it's unbelievable when you start, you know, the research Dave has done is fantastic, and it's just more of like not surprised at all. The Wall Street's dominant role in American politics, regardless of what party sits in power or how reviled the financial industry finds itself across the country, was perhaps never more evident than when Jake Seward, now a Goldman Sachs spokesperson, on Tuesday praised the selection of Jim Donovan, a Goldman Sachs managing director, for the number 2 position in the Treasury Department under Steve Mnuchin, himself a former Goldman Sachs partner. Here's the funny thing. Seward was counselor to the Treasury Department to Timothy Geithner, who was Obama's guy, as well as White House press secretary under Bill Clinton. It's unreal. It's, you know, if you follow professional sports and there's like certain coaches that never win championships, but they just keep getting jobs. They just keep getting hired. Like, how? That's what these guys do. One of the things Trump said was he ran a campaign ad savaging bankers like Goldman CEO Lloyd Blankfein for their role in the global power structure. That was an ad that Trump ran. And within this Intercept article, which I'll put a link below, you can click on the link to see this ad. It's fantastic. He ran on that. And now he's just, boom. Mnuchin and Donovan are just 2 of 5 Goldman expats in high-level positions on Trump's team. Steve Bannon spent a limited time at Goldman Sachs. But White House assistant Dina Powell, who headed the bank's philanthropic efforts, what are those? Oh, wow. What's the philanthropic effort? Just helping, you know, when somebody's diamond falls out of their Rolex, they have a fundraiser to fix it because they can't spend their own money on that. It's got to be great philanthropy. I can imagine. What do you think the fucking catering and bar bill is at one of the Goldman Sachs charity events? What do you think that is? 200-300 grand, $1 million? Like it could feed all of us for a month. Director Gary Cohn, Goldman's former president, had higher ranking positions for a longer period. That was Director Gary Cohn. Jay Clayton, Trump's nominee for the Securities and Exchange Commission, was a partner for Goldman's main law firm, Sullivan and Cromwell. White House Chief of Staff Reese Priebus reportedly blocked Donovan from Treasury initially amid fears of an image problem with too many Goldman guys. Yeah, don't worry about it, Reese. We just had 8 years of Obama had 11 Goldman guys or something like that. Bush had Goldman guys. Nothing's changed. I've talked about Steve Mnuchin and his One West Bank, and they're the bank that fucked me over. Trump announced the nomination of David Malpass as Treasury Undersecretary for International Affairs. Malpass was the chief economist for Bear Stearns right before the investment bank imploded. He literally wrote an opinion piece called, quote, "Don't Panic About Credit Markets" for the Wall Street Journal in August of 2007. Noting, quote, "Housing and debt markets are not that big part of the U.S. economy." I will bet you anything in these assholes' bank accounts that when he wrote that, he wasn't being naive or dumb or didn't know. He knew exactly what was coming and was like, oh, I'm going to make a profit on this. I'm going to bet against it, and I'm going to get tax money from the federal government because we own them and they're going to bail us out. That's how this works. The article is a fascinating read. It just goes, it's more on this, on and on and on, like, here's another great thing. A dramatic piece in the Financial Times described a civil war within the White House over trade, pitting Trump's hardliners like Bannon and trade policy advisor Peter Navarro against the likes of Cohn. It stated that Navarro was being sidelined, with Cohn taking a larger role in negotiations over NAFTA and with foreign leaders working through the National Economic Council rather than Navarro in trade talks. AFL-CIO official Thea Lee said in the story, it appears the Wall Street wing is winning the battle. Wall Street wing? The whole building is Wall Street. It's crazy. And the NEC hired Andrew Quinn as chief negotiator for the Trans-Pacific Partnership to coordinate international trade and development. Breitbart calls him the enemy within. They're all fucking assholes. Here you go. Goldman Sachs shares were at $181.92 a share on election day. Today, $250 a share. Oh, Cohn received nearly $300 million in severance from Goldman after moving into government. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to get severance because these government jobs don't pay well. So, I mean, what's he supposed to? I mean, the fucking polo horses don't feed themselves, you guys. I can't helicopter. How am I supposed to helicopter to the Hamptons? Think it through, guys. Think it through. I need that $300 million just to get by. It's a little walking around money. I'm in an apartment here in Appleton, Wisconsin, and I'm telling jokes at a comedy club and hope some people buy my t-shirts and books. All these fucksticks get $300 million. Speaking of which, if anyone out there watching is a Goldman Sachs person, go to my Patreon link below and maybe you could give a couple $100 million to make this show. And we can do it in a fancier apartment or get a bigger iPhone. And then like and subscribe. Thank you to Dave Dane for writing this article. Thank you to all of you for watching. I'm Graham Elwood.